Hey everybody, my name is Milton. I'm your Dungeon Master, and today I'm going to be showing all of you my behind the DM screen setup. One of the most important parts of your DM screen is setup and positioning. For me, I like to keep what I use the most nearest at hand. So, for instance, my miniatures are always in the front and on my left. I keep my dice in the center. I have my notes also in the center, which are on top of my books, and then I have my dice to my right, where I can grab them. I have pencils accessible at all times, and I have more books right here. These are the ones that I don't use as often, but I also keep them here just in case I need something for reference. And then I always have my creature and character sketches on hand so that I can just grab them at a moment's notice. One great part about being a Dungeon Master is that you get to use what comes into your mind in your games. So for instance, this is a light head or a lamp head, sort of based off of the Pixar mascot. And then I also have the winged pot, which is like it's a winged pot, and it has like a gelatinous goo that splashes from its head. And if it is kind to you and likes you, it'll become this sweet, savory substance that you can partake of and even bathe in. While if it doesn't like you, it will become something deadly and corroding. And then this is the choo-choo, which is like just a spider with train parts. And there are many other monsters that I've made over the years that I've used. One part of Dungeons & Dragons that's really important to remember are the rules. I have the rules written on the back of my DM screen, and I have little things to keep track of my players, and I even have like weapon and stuff on the back. And then I also used lamination plastic on the back of my board to make it so I can use white marker on the back. Like there's a character named Nigel who we met a couple sessions ago. One thing that I find to be extremely difficult as a DM is keeping my area neat. Now, if you ask any of my players, who you probably don't know, I am a very messy Dungeon Master. This area does not look like this by the end of the session. There's papers everywhere and all these different things. But I try to keep a specific order to my mess. Like I'll have all my character sheets here, and then I'll have all my notes here, and I'll have all my monsters here, and then I'll have everything like this specific order. And keeping stuff in specific places will help you with your DMing, and it'll make things flow much easier, because then it will make it so that you can go thing to thing to thing without ever needing to rifle through a bajillion pages of gobbledygook as you're moving from places. Easily, one of the best things that Dungeon Masters can have are dice. Dice are what prepare and make things happen in Dungeons and Dragons. Now, you don't have to have millions of dice to have a good session, but it's often good to have as many as you possibly can, and even throw a miniature in there every once in a while. But the more dice you have, the more prepared you'll be for random encounters and crazy wacky spells. And if you have a player who's never played before, or somebody forgets their dice or something, you should be the prepared Dungeon Master and have dice for them to use. One thing that you really need to have in your mind at all times are the rules, or at least have some homebrew rules that you try to keep in mind at all times. Like, I don't like the way how Dungeons and Dragons combat works, so I have some specific variations that I use in my mind, depending on the type of combat. If it's more of a roleplay combat, then yes, I will stick with the combat system that D&D recommends. But if it's just combat and you're just fighting these huge, crazy monsters, I'll do this other combat type that I came up with called interruption combat, or something like that. So instead of waiting, I just move the monsters around the table as you're playing, and then you just say, hey, I want to act now, and then you attack or whatever you're trying to do at that specific time. So it's more of a role-playing kind of thing, so that it's, well, more of a role-play game, because combat shouldn't be everything, and combat typically takes way too long. But rules are really important, and even though they can sometimes seem like a dampener on things, they're really important to keep the game moving. And without rules, we wouldn't even have physics or math or science. So in conclusion, the back of a DM space is his little nook, his little hole. So if you liked this video and you found it interesting or helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share the video, because the more people that see this video, the more videos I will make in the future. And so see you guys next time.